Well, good morning. This is Tampa Home Talk, and Pat George is absolutely right. There is an accident going southbound on 275, and looks like for the first 5 minutes I'm going to be joining you by phone. But since Leo and Adam are just 5 minutes away from our remote broadcast, Red Door number 5, probably a good time for you guys to jump in.
Yeah, well, this kind of brings live reporting to a new level here on this show. I like it.
I like it when we do broadcasts remotely. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, joined by Adam Talley from Talley Insurance. The acoustics in here are quite echoey.
It is. I like it. It's different for sure.
I just love this place. I love everything about Red Door number 5. It's a cozy living room that we're sitting in next to a kitchen. He's got the great tequilas on his wet bar over there.
Those are good tequilas.
Those are hard.
The ones that make the little chime on top. I like them.
Yeah, those are hard to come by. The Class A Azules, they're hard to come by. I remember back when they were only $75 a bottle. Now you can't find one for under $190.
Ooh, that's pricey.
I have not bought a bottle in a couple of years.
Casamigos for you then, my friend.
Hey, we're talking about Red Door number 5 to change the tequila conversation a little bit. I'm looking at Rust Steel right now, and I don't think we've talked about that in a little while. Last time we were on, we talked about Red Door number 5 and what an amazing event and venue space it is. But I actually ended up meeting Dominic for the very first time at Rustic Steel. And so if you've not checked it out, I'm literally looking right at Rustic Steel at Highland and MLK. And so it's where he does all types of, very specific, very custom art and other steel-type creations. So I know that Dominic's done everything from iron front doors for safety that are also decorative to major art pieces that you'd recognize in Tampa.
Yeah, what are those? Speaking of all the stuff that he's done, what did he create in the back of Red Door number 5 that had those huge plants that are hanging? Do you know what I'm talking about, Katrina? The staghorns. The staghorns. They were enormous. He's not here right now, but they were enormous. He did some. That's impressive.
Yeah, he had
those things to
hang. He had to run out this morning, but you'll find Red Door number 5 at 1910 North Florida Avenue. Can't miss it by the red door. If you miss it by the red door, you'll see it by the military Jeep out front with the steel soldiers.
Yes, it is also adjacent to Metropolitan Ministries.
Oh, that's true.
Or we're also very close to the YMCA.
And you're close to Armature Works.
Yes, very centrally located.
It's almost like this is downtown Tampa, one would say.
Yeah. Are we going to talk market stats?
I think we can. Market stats this week. The new listings are on the rise.
That's good.
We've come up from our dip at 699. We're currently at 811 new listings on the week. We have a lot of price decreases. I've been following price decreases lately because price decreases are on the rise. It was funny. Back in April, you only had about 200 price decreases, and now you're looking at 436. So I think either that's one of two things. Either people are realizing they can't gouge as high as they used to, or the market is stabilizing a little bit where people aren't overspending to the point they've been in the past. What do you think it is?
I think it's a mix of both. I think I'm going to
comment on this one as a professional guy. On my listings, we're not quite seeing the price reductions unless it's on the upper end of the price range, like over $500,000. And that's because our listings are priced correctly. You've got a lot of brand new agents out there right now that are dabbling in real estate that pull these pie in the sky numbers that educated buyers are not willing to pay. And I think that is where you're seeing the price reductions in the market. I don't think it's from, the experienced agents like me, which are now really the minority when you look at the entire number of agent pool.
Yeah, Katrina, I want to agree with you, but the numbers, if you look at the numbers over aggregate since the beginning of the year, price decreases have been on the rise. Like I said, right around spring break, they sort of bottomed out at 200. And now they're on the rise, and now every week it's a little bit more than the week before. I think that's more than just inexperienced agents. I mean, if it was inexperienced agents, it'd still be around the same level.
Let me give you an example why I don't believe that's so. And I test this on more than one of my listings. I had one that we priced last week at $275, and we were at the upper end of that price range. We did have data and comps and sales to support it. It was the highest sale in that neighborhood was $275. And I can tell you, we got a cash offer for $20,000 above it. So the hedge funds and the people that buy them to rent them out are still very strong in force right now. And that's still, going to continue to drive the market. So, again, I really feel like, when I'm pricing stuff at the upper end of the range, it shows well, but I still have a comp to support it, and we're getting above that list price. That tells me that other people are choosing numbers that they don't have data to support. So that's why they're seeing price reductions.
Are you still seeing a lot out there where it's probably more when you're looking for shopping for your buyers, but are you still seeing a lot where people will underprice it and try to get a bidding war going?
I think the market is still doing that right now for home sellers, and this is the conversation I have with my seller, because it's not uncommon for me to price a listing and actually take the listing a month or more of going live on the market. And in this market, and really in any market, we're re-looking at the comps right before we go on the market to see if we need to adjust the price any. And when I say adjust the price, that could be either way. Now, in this market, it's been up. And I can tell you in this particular listing, I took it at $275. When I looked at the data, it still supported $275. And what I told the seller was we need to leave it at $275 and let the market do the heavy lifting of bringing the price up. Now, I feel like if we were even at $280, that would have significantly impacted the number of offers that we got, because we had about 17 offers, I think, before we closed it.
Okay. Are you still seeing? Well, I know building materials are going down. So are the new homes, like the new build homes, are those kind of leveling out too, or are those still going off like crazy as well?
New construction still can't keep up. There's still a wait for a lot of things. The demand is still significantly higher than the than people that want to build. I'll give you a prime example. Builders are getting so particular that literally, I'm not going to name this builder. I know I have sold a lot of their homes, but I went to do a walkthrough yesterday with a client, and one of the first questions I asked was, has your cleaning crew been here yet? Because it didn't look like they were. I mean, there were significant, not only handprints, smudges, all types of things that were on a window that was probably 16 feet in the air that the typical first-time home buyer is not going to be able to reach. But aside from that, there was paint on all the knobs. There was many things from the initial walkthrough that had not even been completed. And so we're talking about at least a week. And so, when I went there, the new home, he's not the sales agent. He's like the foreman or whatever that basically does the walkthrough with the buyer as well and gets those punch list items finished. He actually asked me to leave yesterday, if you can believe that, because I was pointing out some of the defects, and I said, I'm not going to leave. My buyer has asked me to be here, and I won't be leaving. And I said it in a very polite way, and ultimately we were able to work it out, and I stayed there, but I was shocked. I've never, ever been asked in 30 years to leave when I was trying to represent a buyer's best interest, ever.
Wow.
And, it gets a little uncomfortable for the buyer, right? They can just sit there and wait and can be uncomfortable.
Yeah, a lot of tension there. Are you still seeing a lot of people waiving inspections and appraisal contingencies and all that stuff? Not
so much inspections, but they're having to move it up. I am still seeing not complete waiver of appraisals, but up to a certain dollar amount. We are seeing that. If the demand is high enough in a certain neighborhood, that's where you might see a complete appraisal waiver. But I would say for your everyday home, probably not. One more thing that's probably worth mentioning while we're talking about the new build stuff, it was chatter in one of the real estate groups that I'm in for my office, and do you know one of the builders, this is not one of my clients, this just happened to someone else I know, one of the builders tried to cancel a contract with a buyer for checking out the property while they're building it. So you have to remember it's technically still the builder's home, And if you go without permission, you're trespassing. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think builders are looking for any reason they can to cancel a contract and get more money. So don't give them a reason.
Wow, that's a really good tip. I didn't even know they could do that.
I didn't know they can cancel the contract. I know if they tried to cancel the contract over looking at the home, I'd be on the phone to an attorney.
Oh, yeah. I think that's kind of what happened. They tried to, and ultimately they ended up getting that figured out real quick.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, don't builder's office unrepresented. Those contracts are very one-sided and very builder-friendly. Call or text us at 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775, and we'll protect your interests when you're buying a new build. 813-377-2775. We'll be back in a moment.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Leo Kane here with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. We're reporting live from Red Door number 5. Adam Talley on the mic.
Yeah, welcome home, by the way.
Well, I was just trying to make sure the room was a hush, simmer down. But, I mean, I think that table, maybe not the table, but those chairs around the conference room table are new here. What do you think, Adam?
No, those were here last time.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just
not as observant as you used to be.
I'm just amazed. The different artwork. I got an African feel. I still see pieces of the Berlin Wall here. I'm sure we'll get Dominic on to talk about the Berlin Wall in a couple of minutes. Is that going to happen, Katrina?
I think he's coming closer to the 9 o'clock hour, maybe. I don't know. Let me see that outline. I'll let you know.
I think we're doing insurance.
You guys beat me here this morning.
It's insurance.
I thought your father was coming here today.
No, he couldn't make it today.
Oh, what a treat. He missed it.
I know. That photo still pops up every now and then from when he went the first time.
Did I meet your dad, or have I been gone every time he's been in the studio?
He's only come once, and you were gone that day. It was just,
he's only been in the studio once? I thought it was twice. No,
it was just once, and it was him and I, and we were in St. Pete, and we were only doing 1 hour at that time, and it was him, me, and Pat.
No, he came to the open house, the live broadcast.
Oh, that's right. He came to Maiden Sea. Was it Maiden Sea? No.
Yes.
Yeah, Maiden Sea.
Yes. Well, that was a home game for him. He lives in Apollo Beach, so.
Well, okay, that was easy. It's like you guys just rolling out of bed down the street.
If we do it downtown every week, we'll be fine. We would never be late.
Sorry to tell you guys, we're not moving the Tampa Home Talk Studios from Lutz.
It's not Lutz Home Talk, though.
So what do you think? You want who's in hour number 2?
I don't know. Stephanie.
Okay.
Stephanie. Yeah.
So why don't you talk about insurance? This is National Insurance Week.
This is National Insurance Week. It was National Ice Cream Day on Sunday, but now it's National Insurance Week.
You know, they should move National Insurance Week to the last week of May to get everybody aware for hurricane season.
Well, I think but nationally, we don't have hurricanes all year.
Yeah,
Fair
you're right
enough.
about that. There's
Fair
something
enough.
else and different. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about real estate related? Because I think I made some valid points we don't talk about often
I want to talk
before
about
we jump into insurance.
This is
okay.
Adam's chance
Okay,
to shine.
insurance it is.
We can talk about we can.
I just wondered if you had any other questions from where we left off in the first segment.
I do not, but something that really a question for you, and I know you don't really see it, but I'm sure some other agents out there do, is with all these carriers getting so tight on all their restrictions and so on the roofs and everything like that.
We were talking about that with
how many, I'm seeing some houses where it's like I can't insure it, and I don't know if they're closing or not.
I don't know. Let me talk about this because I don't think. Do we have Erin Donovan on the air, or was this a private conversation with her? I'll re-spark the memory, and you guys remind me if it was. I'm can't remember if it was on the air or in person.
Oh, you got the coffee. Coffee's not working.
Yeah,
yet.
There's some legislation that's on the table that's really talking about how people are wanting them to change their roof every 10 years. And one of those got passed. The other one they're still working on. So I worry about that. I mean, you're talking about ones you can't insure. What's a good example of something you can insure?
Well, I mean, we'll see it all the time where somebody will give us a 4-point, right? And maybe there'll be some electrical issues or some plumbing issues or something. I mean, houses get old, things break. Things aren't what things are code now that weren't,
Well, in the old
weren't in the
days
past, right?
of like grandma and grandpa having their house, right? And the same insurance carrier for 40 years.
Exactly.
And they never check anything
Correct.
or they just renew them every year. Those days really don't exist.
They don't. But what we're seeing is, with the market the way it is right now, from the real estate side, is we're seeing some sellers that are like, no, I don't want to fix that. If you can't get insurance, they'll find somebody else.
I mean, you and I had that
yeah.
literally on a client that was paying cash.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why they took her offer. There was multiple offers. She was originally going to get financing, but she had the ability to pay cash. And I said, look, why don't you just pay cash and then get your money back out of it after you close? And the challenge is there were some 4-point items on there, which the seller said was not on their 4-point.
Yeah, and that's why that's why, if somebody hands you an inspection from a previous, sale, get your own inspection, right? Call Leo, get a professional out there because things
Could you
change.
even use that because it was too old, right? It wasn't that old.
If it's within a year, we can.
It wasn't within a year, but it wasn't old, but it was older than a year.
But it still had issues on it. They just didn't know what they were looking at.
Oh, okay. I didn't look at it.
There was still some. I think they had a double tap on there or something, and we see double taps a lot. I'm assuming that is probably they fixed something at some time, and the electrician got lazy and put them in the same.
So
or their uncle
talk
came
about
over
the
to do
double
that.
taps, Leo. Why do we see that so much? Is that a lazy thing? Is that like a handyman job? Does that mean they're out of circuits? Like why do we see so many double taps?
Typically, I would see that because they're out of circuits. So it could mean the difference between installing a brand new panel or just putting a new wire in. So a lot of times we'll see that they'll add a pool, then they'll add a lighting circuit for the pool, then they'll add a plug underneath the breaker box. I mean, you're going to run out of slots.
Yeah.
So what happens when you run out of slots? You have to upgrade your whole panel, or can you do a sub panel?
Pretty much you either need to do a sub panel or you need to upgrade the whole panel. Depends on your overall amperage. I mean, sometimes you can't use a sub panel because you don't have enough amps in your panel, so you need a new panel. Sub panel only works if you have total amps. So a good example is like an apartment unit's a 60 amp breaker.
Right.
If you tried to put a hot tub on your balcony, your panel's not strong enough.
Right.
But if you're going to add a new garbage disposal,
Right.
you just kind of put a new breaker in and you're good to go.
So what does that mean actually, like logistically, when you're looking at the panel and someone's double tapped? What does that mean and what hazards are actually present? Because it's a simple fix.
Well, if you have room, it's a simple fix.
Normally, it's a simple fix. Yeah,
I
normally.
mean, the big hazard there is you have 2 circuits on one breaker, which means that the breaker could be overloaded easier if both of those circuits are in use.
Which means more risk of fire, right?
More risk of fire, more risk of the breaker tripping. It's not more risk of fire. Your breaker will trip, theoretically. If the breaker's not working properly because
But
it's
if the breaker trips, that's an indicator that the system's overloaded and it's trying to shut some stuff down.
So, I mean, on the close side, you're looking at the breaker tripping more often. On the downside, you're looking if you have a lightning strike. Now you've got 2 circuits that are joined. If they're on opposite ends of the house, you can cause an arc through the whole house, which could cause a fire. So it is a fire hazard. It is a pretty big one with insurance companies. They don't like to see double taps. It is the sign of an improperly wired system.
Yeah.
I can't imagine electricians would do that. I think that's probably like a...
No, I see electricians do
you
that all
do
the
see
time.
electricians do it? Wow.
Because people get cheap. They don't want to pay for a whole breaker panel. And in the electrician's mind, if the breaker's working properly, then there is no risk of fire. Because if I turn my garbage disposal on and I turn my laundry machine on at the same time and it's too much juice, the breaker should pop.
Yeah.
So they're trusting that the breaker. They're trusting the breaker.
They're trusting the electrician.
But if it doesn't, that's when the fire hazards are present.
Well, yeah. But I mean, in an electrician's mind, a double tap isn't the worst thing you can do because the system's still in place to protect
What's
you.
code on that, though?
Oh, you're not supposed to have it.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
How much extra does it usually cost to upgrade a panel? Let's say someone is out of room.
It could be like $1,800 to $2,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same as like if they have a faulty Zensko panel or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Similar
replacing
price.
a panel. I mean, if you're adding a sub panel, you probably can do that for $800 or less if you have the ability to do that, but you also need the space. I mean, it's great when you have panels that are in the garage and you've got space next to the panel, but if you got an older house and the panel's in near a crawl space or if you're in an apartment and it's built into the wall, you might not have room for a sub panel.
You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about this because in my own home, I think I'm out of panel space. We had a hot tub in our back when even though we have a spa, we ended up taking it out, getting rid of it when we did our pool remodel. And then when I got my Tesla, I had the wall charger installed. So he used the old breaker from the spa that we were no longer using.
That makes sense because that was a spa would have been a 220 circuit.
Yeah.
And a 220 circuit actually takes two. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So houses are 120 to 240 on electricity.
Do the wall panels take two as well? They probably do because
Well,
I've heard people
to
say
charge
220.
a Tesla, you would need a dual. So
Yeah,
instead
I
of
think
needing
so.
one breaker in your panel box, you actually need two. So items like your air handler, your stove range.
Big stuff that takes more juice.
Yeah, the stuff that has the huge plug, the big circle plug with the 3 prongs, as opposed to
dryer.
the dryer,
Yeah.
as opposed to the little guy. Those are going to take 2 breakers in your panel box. So yeah, if you're going to replace the
And
spa with a charging station,
You don't want to use the charger that comes with the Tesla. It takes 2 days to charge it.
oh, and you do the normal plug.
Wow.
Literally 2 days. Not kidding.
That's rough.
Yeah.
How long
rough.
does it take to get into space?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Katrina's afraid of heights, so she'll stay away from that
See,
one.
I would go to space. I would totally go to space.
You know, I was thinking about you. We were talking about you last night, Leo, because we've been doing trivia on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And that was one of the
Plantation Palms.
questions last week was about when's the last time a man went to the moon. And I was like, holy crap. I think we should ask Pat George that and see if maybe he gets it right. When's the last time someone was on the moon, Pat?
1963, 7:30 in the morning on a Tuesday.
Did you Google
It has
that?
to be like late 70s, I thought.
No, I think it is in the 60s. When is it, Leo?
I made it all.
I want to say it's in the 80s. I mean, are we talking Americans or Chinese or
No,
Russians?
I think it was Americans, but I do think, God, just now I can't remember.
Yeah, because
I thought it was the 80s because I was like,
It
I
was in the
remember
80s.
I remember when I was a kid and they did the teacher space program.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the Challenger. Once
Yeah.
the Challenger blew up in '84, that kind of
They didn't do it anymore.
They set back our space program by 10 years.
Yep, I
Wow.
remember that.
So yeah, I want to say it was like '82 was the last time we were on the moon.
Nice. Well, we'll talk insurance when we
When
get
we
back.
come
I do
back.
have the answer for your roof question, by the way.
December 11th, 1972.
Oh, it was in the 70s. Okay, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
72?
For the Americans or for anyone?
Doesn't say.
Well, Elon
find
Musk
out when
is
we come
coming.
back.
We'll be back.
Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm Adam Talley with Talley Insurance, joined by Katrina Madewell, realtor extraordinaire,
That's
Tampa
me.
Home expert,
Tampa Home Talk, my
Yeah.
hometown.
and Leo Kane, Beryl Project Engineering and Inspections.
That's you.
They were waiting for the build-up.
The
You give-
build-up.
you
I
give
mean,
her huge build-up.
the smartest inspector in town.
We got anything related to 4-point or otherwise. He is
Right.
our go-to.
He is the man.
I've asked him some pretty wild questions over the years.
You have
What's the wildest one I've asked you? I think I know what it is. You tell me what you think.
sinkhole related?
It doesn't have to be. Just first thing comes
No,
to mind.
that was the first thing.
That was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
sinkhole related.
I think one of the wildest things I've asked you is how complicated is it to get utilities to an island? Do you remember when I asked you that?
Oh yeah, and then depending on the island, I mean, we helped establish some utilities on an island in other nations before. So yeah, it's all about the ability to lay pipe under the sea. If you
That
want
does
to go,
not sound like an easy project.
it's not.
No.
Nor does it sound like a DIY project.
No.
It doesn't sound cheap. Let's
No.
let's start there. It does
The-
not sound like it's an
The important
inexpensive
thing
task.
is, as they learned on Fire Island, is water is more important than electricity. You can solar yourself
Right.
electricity. You cannot solar yourself water.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So we were talking about insurance, and you asked about the roofs with Aaron Donovan. What they
Yes.
were going to do is an ACV schedule for the roof, right?
What does that
Actual
mean?
cash
So
value.
actual cash value. So
Actual cash value.
instead of them replacing your entire roof, they'll give you the depreciated value for your roof based on the age of the roof after 10 years.
Well, that kind of makes a little
That's kind of
sense.
fair, though.
I mean, if your roof is
because all these people getting new roofs.
if your roof is 18 years old and it has a useful life of 25, you had 18 of 25 years of
You
life.
did pretty good. I
but
think.
none of them really are lasting 25. Not
Not
here. Not the shingle roofs.
I
Well,
think-
yes, with architectural, it just depends on the type of shingle, and this is why I'm opposed to it, because they're going to take the cheapest 3-tab shingle out there that lasts 15 years, and they're going to say that's your useful life, even though you're going to have shingles that are 30-year shingles and 50-year shingles.
Well, how can they do that? It's not accurate.
Well, so, I mean, we'll see how it all sorts out on that one. I do know a lot of carriers.
I think here's the challenge. When they make laws and rules like that, they don't have enough experts to kind of bring more information to the table so that it makes sense from all sides.
Well, you got to think that's like most laws. You have lawmakers doing it, not the people in that actual field.
The only thing that scares me, like on the surface, I would be in favor of an actual cash value depreciated payout. However, it's establishing what that quote-unquote denominator is for the useful life. That's where I think the insurance companies are going to take advantage of homeowners.
And here's the challenge too. Like when I think about a roof, right? Like I've already replaced the roof on my house once.
Right.
The next time I have to do that, if I'm in the same home, and I'm
be
assuming
the last
I
time,
will
maybe.
be.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm thinking like I probably would go metal because like who wants to replace it again in another
I would go
10
metal.
or 15 years?
I have a metal roof. That is the best type of roof out there.
They're basically saying, replace after a certain amount, which kind of leads to what we've talked about before. I think it's going to lead to some other like self-insurance type options.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're seeing now is some of these carriers, even though that's not the law or that's not in place yet or anything like that, they're giving you the option. So
to do what?
For a reduced rate, you can do ACV on your roof with a few carriers right now.
Yeah, they actually started that before. Like the bill was supposed to go into effect July 1st, and a piece of it did. And they were doing this back in March.
But how much is that discount? Is it worth it?
A couple $100.
It's not worth it, but people are very short-sighted.
They are. I mean, you get people out there, and they're concerned over a couple $100, and it's kind of crazy. You'll see they get really everybody's real passionate about money in their home. It's their biggest investment, right? And obviously rates have gone up. Whoever's listening right now, I don't even have to look at your policy.
Yeah.
I know it's gone up. From
My
last
rates
year to
went
this
up,
year.
and I asked you about it, and then I got sidetracked, and then it popped in my mind, and I tell you, it was the day that it was expiring. I was like, let me figure out how to go online and renew this before midnight.
Adam, my rate, you recently renewed 2 of my policies. My rates went down. How did you do that?
Well, we're talking different type of policy. So you're talking.
Just trying to.
I know, I appreciate it. That was on the
Commercial versus
commercial side.
residential?
Yeah, it's on the commercial side. But they get real passionate about their homeowners insurance. Yet they'll probably be paying double they've been paying double than that on their auto insurance for the past however many years, and it doesn't click, right? The couple $100, especially if you have a mortgage, you're talking $30 a month. It's not that's dinner. Right, but
see, let me ask you an auto insurance question, Adam.
Ask away.
So
good, because I got a homeowner's question.
So I've got a car. Let's just say,
proud of you.
It gets lower and lower in value every year.
Correct.
So as a savvy insurance agent, do you readjust the value of the vehicle into lower rates each year, or how does that work?
So the value of the vehicle is actually that's always been actual cash value, unless we're talking about a like a supercar or something like that, we can do, agreed value.
Yeah, so if I'm a safe driver and my car loses 15% a year in value, so should my auto insurance go down each year?
The cost that they're charging you for comp and collision, if their rating platform has stayed the same from term to term, that should go down.
Now that you say that, I don't think it did. We've talked about this. I've got a big carrier I've had for my homeowners or for my car insurance for years, and we just can't touch it. Like literally, they've insured my teenagers at I don't know how they do kind of rates. But just thinking about that, I remember like when my Prius was getting older and older and older, I was like, I don't think I need full coverage on this anymore. It's a really old car. It's got a lot of miles.
And if you own it outright, that's an option for you. But what you'll see though on that comp and collision is even though that number may be going down, and some carriers don't break down how the premium is split, but you'll see that number go down, but the cost for liability will go up, right?
Why?
Well, it depends on where you're at. Like in our area in Tampa, like we're a very high accident prone area, right? You could live in St. Pete, because I remember when I moved from St. Pete to Tampa, I paid like $500 more when I moved to Tampa than St. Pete. And it's just, zip codes and
Inner
everything
city.
else like that.
Tampa, big city.
I kind of agree with that, because if I'm in a a older looking car, a dirtier car, I take more risks on the road because I'm like, people are going to get out of my way. They're going to see this thing. They're going to know I don't care.
Yeah.
And they're going to get out of my way. But if I'm in a nice brand new car, people are going to cut me off. People are going to stop short. They're going to like, this guy's got a car he cares about.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you got to think about too is like how the vehicle itself is rated, right? So before I had my pickup truck, I had a old Honda Civic, right? It was a 2011, very, very basic. Bought my pickup truck. I'm thinking, okay, my insurance rates are going to go way higher because this truck is worth probably like 5 times what that, what the Honda Civic was worth. My rate actually went down, and it's because the truck is
Well,
new.
trucks are cheaper to insure, right?
Yeah,
'cause
because they're
it was
less accident
newer.
prone.
I mean,
Less
anytime
accident
we've
prone.
added the teenagers to the policy, they always get insured on the truck. It's
Yeah.
way cheaper.
Yeah, anytime you have a vehicle that a lot of teenagers drive, and actually the 2011 Honda Civic, that's one of the more popular vehicles of that time.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a high, maybe not per capita on how many Civics they sold, but Civics are going to be in quite a few accidents.
Just based on
The fact
Numbers.
that
Yeah.
there's so many more of them out there. And what's interesting about the Honda Civic and like the Toyota Camry of the early 2010s, those are a high risk for being stolen because they need parts.
Yes. Well, and the other side of that too is let's face it. If I'm in an accident in that Honda Civic, I'm probably going to get hurt. If I'm in an accident in my pickup truck, I'm probably walking away from that.
Yeah. Minimal damage.
The car that is in front of me is going to be a wreck, but I'll probably be fine. So that's kind of how they look at that.
Bash the Honda Civic.
Well,
Yeah.
I tell you
I
what's
like the Honda. It was a
interesting.
great car.
Talking about used cars, when I went to buy my car, I looked for a used Tesla. I really did, because I like to buy my cars that are like a lease turn in.
Yeah.
2 years old.
That's how we bought my wife's car. We got
I
steal
love
on
buying
that
cars
car.
like that, and I tell you, it doesn't exist in Tesla.
Well, and you can't do it for like pickup trucks and stuff either, like because their value stays real
For trucks,
high.
but trucks go down.
They
Not
do.
really. They become work trucks, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's common to see a truck with like 200,000-300,000 miles. It's rare to see a car with over 100.
Yeah.
Well, I know our F-150, like if we had bought that brand new from the dealer, it probably would be $80,000.
Oh, their
But
trucks
we
are
bought
expensive
it. We
these
bought
days.
it 2
They're
years
crazy.
old. It was like we picked it up for 30-some thousand.
Yeah, but still 30-something thousand for most people. That's a lot of money for most
Right,
people.
But it's
I
not
could-
80.
I understand.
I can get a
that,
brand new
but-
Dodge Journey for that. That's what I drive.
Yeah, it's not 80.
And
Like,
why would I pay for a truck? It doesn't even have back seats. It doesn't have the.
sure
like,
it does.
Mine does. I have
You
4
got to get
doors.
a crew cab.
It's like squished.
If you spend $80,000, you can get plenty of room.
It's not squished. Yeah, in our truck. That's true. It is not.
But so yeah, I mean, auto insurance. It's we're seeing that go up too, but
So-
it's not as precipitous.
Going back to
as
homeowners insurance,
Yes,
since we are
homeowners.
Tampa Home Talk and
Yeah,
not,
yeah. Well, you
part
have,
of Tampa.
hey, most people have to park a car inside their house. So
They
Hey,
do.
Adam can bundle homeowners and auto.
I can.
Yes.
So,
I can.
and it's insurance week, so I didn't think my sidebar topic was
No,
that far
I was
sidebar.
good.
It
No,
wasn't,
that
but
was
I want to
good.
go back to what you said because we saw this literally with a customer, and the market still is so tight
Right.
that literally we're seeing the seller say, nah, I don't want to fix anything. It truly is as is, and we've got stuff on the 4-point that is hard for you to get around insurance. And in this particular case, you couldn't do any insurance on it.
I couldn't. Yeah, we were able to help her by the end of the week and before the storm came, which was the goal.
Yeah.
That sounds
So,
like
so let's
I
talk about
remember this.
the way that happened. So our client actually ended up paying cash. So
Closed on a Monday,
the
and the storm was
moment-
coming the very next
Monday,
week.
was it Monday or Wednesday? I thought it was a Wednesday.
Closed on a Wednesday.
I think it was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And literally we got the clear 4-point immediately and did all the work like the day she closed. And then we were like, where's the 4-point? Was the electrician holding stuff up? We're
Yeah.
like, there's a storm coming. We need this now.
Yeah, we got lucky. We got lucky with that storm too. It really
Yeah.
passed. It was really much to do about nothing, but something like that, if it makes that little
know, but
right-hand turn
for
into the
me-
bay, we're SOL.
Yeah.
you
So
know.
what options do you have if someone's getting a loan and they're in that position? You really don't have any insurance options at all? Or could you insure them on a builder's risk or something silly until they get it changed?
So it would depend on where it's located because we do have some decent product. Like it's called an HO8. It's a more widely. They don't have any upfront.
A lot more
you know.
exclusions.
Yeah, a lot of exclusions.
But that's still better than no
it's better than
insurance
that.
for a
You
week.
can close,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like
so
if they're
we can do
financed,
that.
they've got to have some insurance. It's not an option.
Right.
To close without insurance.
Right. So we have that. We have some options, but it's limited, right? If you live in the wrong zip code and they're not writing there, I don't have anything, right? And a builder's risk is really for people that aren't living in the house that are doing major renovations.
Well, she
not
wasn't living in the house, and she had to make those repairs before she could move in. So.
Right, but it's more like 50% of the entire value type
Oh.
of renovation, not a couple grand versus 300,000.
So no exception on that at all.
Correct.
Okay.
No, if you're confused about insurance, 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775. We are reporting from Red Door number 5 in
Come down and
Insurance
see us.
Week.
I like how you say reporting.
We
I
have
like
an open Red Door number 5, so come
We're-
see us.
we're
We're right
news
on Florida
media.
Avenue.
We are news media. I want press passes for the
We're
Super Bowl
news
next time.
media and we are talk radio.
All right, this is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back right after the break.
Welcome home. Final segment, hour number 1, Tampa Home Talk. Leo Kane here talking with Adam Talley all about insurance for National Insurance Week.
Yeah.
How did that come
Exciting.
about anyway? Do we know?
Who knows? There's something
Somebody
for
make up
every.
this
There's
stuff.
something for everything. They make up too many things these days. But anyways, before we left, you were talking about what do you do if it doesn't pass a 4-point?
Yeah.
Right. So
You have to get insurance because you have a loan, and you can't close without insurance.
the most important thing, if you know you're going to be in a situation like that, or you think you're going to be in a situation like that, don't wait till the last minute.
Definitely.
Right? Because there's a rate for every risk, but if we need to go to a broker or something like that, now we're on somebody else's time schedule, not ours.
I thought you were an insurance broker.
I'm an a true broker in our field. Like most people think we're a broker because we have 60 carriers, right? But a true broker is somebody in our industry, somebody that accesses like carriers that nobody has access
Off-market.
to, right? Like they have a different license than I have. So that's how they access like the excess and surplus line.
How long does that take to get that?
Yeah, why doesn't Tally Insurance have that?
Because it's just a different. We use brokers to access that type of stuff. It's
For
just a
hard to
completely
insure
different
stuff.
Yeah, it's just a completely different thing. So like Hall, we use Hall and Company for some of your policies.
Yeah.
They're a broker. That's how we access Lloyd's of London and that kind of stuff. It's just a different realm.
So I'm not actually insured through Hull. I'm just kind of...
They're like an MGA. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm insured through Tally, who's insured through Hull, who's insured through... I need to see what's on my COA.
You're insured through like Northfield, I think,
Northfield.
right? So
That
then-
sounds like it would be really fun if you had a claim. I'm just saying.
No, because you'd go straight to the carrier, right?
But who is the carrier?
Northfield.
Okay.
Northfield. You just have to the most important thing to you is that we can access them, so we can shop all the carriers, not
what
just.
I heard as a key statement for me is the most important thing is he can access it. So if I have any issues, I just call him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do. We were talking about it earlier. We do a lot of commercial insurance as well. So not just homes and cars, but businesses and fleets like Leo's.
For us too?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is why I like having a local agent. I like having one person I can pick up the phone and call, especially when I need something called a certificate of insurance to get paid from some of our vendors. I don't want to go through a national switchboard. I don't want to have to.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I don't have to talk to someone for an hour for them to send me a document, hopefully in 2 days. I can just send Adam a quick email. He sends out a quick certificate of insurance. I get it paid from the client. It's very easy that way as a business owner.
Usually, if you catch me at the right time, usually within like an hour too. So, which is
So, what are a couple things not covered by homeowners insurance that people should be aware of?
well, something that everybody should be aware of nowadays, and they need to look at their policy, is going to be water damage.
I was going to say flood. It came to mind first.
I didn't think any of them cover water damage.
water damage. So people get mistaken between flood and water damage, right? Flood, typically a separate policy. That's rising water, like rain, storm surge, etc.
So people are doing insurance carriers are doing exclusions on water damage.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Water damage is like pipes breaking, and we're seeing a
How
lot
do
of
you not
carriers
cover that on homeowners insurance?
Well, they're going to want to exclude copper pipes, which are from the 80s. They're all
Yeah.
starting to fail. Galvanized pipes.
Yeah.
Those are a no-no. Polybutylene pipes.
They're
those
Yeah,
are
those are
basically
fine.
called
once a
pipes.
home hits a certain age, they're going to exclude it, and maybe they'll give you the option to do limited. We have some carriers now that are doing limited regardless of age. It could be a brand new house; they're limiting it to $10,000.
Polybutylene pipes was what, 80s?
Yeah, it was that. It's like flexible gray pipe from
Mm-hmm.
the 80s. And I just had a house in Orlando I inspected 2 weeks ago where the polybutylene pipe, they had a pipe break. and then they had another pipe break. And pretty much now they've had a pipe break in every room that has had plumbing in it.
Well, I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, story time.
I
Do we
had
have time for a story?
this townhome. It's real quick, and I was selling it, and the insurance was going to expire about 2 weeks. It did expire 2 weeks before, basically it closed. And I said, "Oh, I don't need to renew. I'll just go ahead and self-insure for a couple weeks." Long story short,
Oh boy.
I got a call from an appraiser saying, there's a bunch of water in here. What should I do? I said, what are you talking about?
Uh-oh.
He said, there's a bunch of water in the property. What should I do? I said,
Turn the
open the
meter
door and let it out. Turn the water off. I don't know. And he said, I opened the door and it was like a river. There was polybutylene pipes, and one of them had broken, and it literally flooded the whole bottom part.
Yeah. I mean, it's water damage and roofs. Those are the two number one claims that we see, right? And there's not really the thing that ruined water damage for everybody was assignment of benefits.
Yes.
Because that really what happened is your normal, say, couple grand for a water damage issue turned into 15 and 20 grand, and that really blew the rates up, and that's kind of where we are right now. So
what an assignment of benefits is I'm a contractor. I will take over for you, the homeowner, because you don't know how to navigate these waters, and I will handle your claim and assign how much money I think there is to do all these fixes.
right.
On the surface, I like it because homeowners, I'm very experienced in this industry of insurance claims, and I don't see how homeowners can navigate these waters by themselves with the auto denials, with what's a public adjuster versus an insurance adjuster
It's like
versus
the
a
medical
private
field.
adjuster.
It's Chinese.
Right.
It's too much for
Yeah,
the
so I
layperson.
like the assignment of benefits for the reason of have someone that's in the industry represent you. I don't like it when I'm in a place like the Villages and I ask someone why they filed a roof claim and they're like, well, my neighbor got $100 for referring me because there was a storm event 2 years ago.
Right.
I'm like, that
geez.
can't.
It gets abused, and then we end up where we're
That's
at
where
right here.
insurance rates go up.
And then with AOB, said
What's
contract
AOB?
assignment
It's
of
a
benefits, said contractor can sue the insurance carrier in your name.
And they can accept payment or not accept payment in your name. They can determine how long they want to fight in your name.
How does that work? How does that affect the homeowner?
It's called an assignment of benefits. The homeowner's just along for the ride.
You gave it to them. You let them do it, and now it's their show.
No, this is our show, Tampa
Well,
Home
Should be a
Talk.
disclosure on that.
There is.
They're signing it.
But nobody's
how many
reading it.
things? Well, you do contracts every day,
I
so
read
you
everything.
read everything.
Adam
But
sent me like 30 documents last week for my insurance renewals. I didn't read a single one.
that is dangerous. Don't do that.
I was in a closing yesterday, and the closer hands the.
I didn't have time to read all that.
Fair enough.
They hand the people the paperwork, and they're like, here's the mortgage. It says if you pay, you stay. If you don't, you won't. And the guy looks at it like he's going to read it, and he goes, knock yourself out. No one ever reads it. And I said, I have. I've actually read every provision in there.
Wow. Yeah. No. So there's a lot going on in the industry, and that's leading to these increases in rates. One thing I did want to mention though, before we go into the
Exit
next
insurance?
hour. Yeah. Because that's my number one call these days is why is my insurance rate high? What can I do? We were talking about it's not easy to switch now, right? Let's say your roof's 12 years old. That's not going to work. Do a policy review. A lot of your policies, especially if you've been with the same carrier for a while, your dwelling coverage has probably outpaced what it actually costs to rebuild your house. So I had a 1,200 square foot bungalow. They're insured for like $350,000. Unless it's gold fixtures, it's not $350,000 to rebuild. We redid the
Or Leo's
replacement.
house.
We redid the replacement cost estimate, knocked off $100,000 off of that, and they ended up saving about $800. So well worth it, and they would have never gotten $350 anyways. So you no need to insure it for that
And if
much.
you're looking to save 25% on your insurance, 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775.
Or policy review. Give us a call or text, 813-377-2775.
No, that'll lead into savings.
We'll be back. Red door number 5, hour number 2.